Thank you, Steve, for your kind introduction. My name is Sithea San, and I am currently working as a customer service officer with Union Bank. Beside my work, I sit on several boards of Cambodian organizations in Long Beach, particularly Cambodia Town, Inc., for which I was elected as the first chairwoman and served for 5 years. Getting to this point has been a really journey for me. A journey continue with reminder never give up. I have a good life in Cambodia before April 17, 1975. My family was a middle class, and we owned a house, TV, and refrigerator, which is other people didn't have. My mom worked 2 government jobs as a receptionist by day and at radio broadcast at night. My dad, a former math professor, and also an engineer, ship and travel a lot. My 2 sisters and I always had new shoes and clothing for school. I love school and cannot wait to go every morning. A few days before April 17, 1975, my sister and I were fully aware that the war coming closer, to the city. All school and market was closed because of the heavy shelling by the Khmer Rouge forces. Many houses were burned and several people were killed. My mom started to stock food and other essential items, so when the time comes, so we have something to eat. We spend most of our time in the bunker under our house, which is not much, just a few meters deep and without cover. My dad had to leave the country during that time and wanted to take all of us with him, but my mom refused to go because she said, I don't want to go to another country, build up a new life. As more shells landed closer and closer to the city, landed closer to the city, to our house, we were so scared and worried to getting hurt. On the night of the April 16, I couldn't sleep because of all the shooting and bombs. Our neighbor told us that the Khmer Rouge force were at the outskirts of the city, and that government troop stopped fighting and started to pull back. The next morning on April 17, the Khmer Rouge was in our neighborhood, and we were told to raise the white flag. Everyone was shouting that the war was over. Peace had finally come. But what we didn't know was the horror Khmer Rouge would bring to us later. They may have stopped the war, but what they brought was the darkest period in Cambodian modern history, the killing fields. Khmer Rouge then told us to leave Phnom Penh just for 3 days. They told us that America was going to bomb Phnom Penh. We didn't leave first, but when they returned back second time, we left. At first, my sister and I were so excited, finally we have a chance to go to the countryside. But after a few days of walking under the sun and seeing several dead bodies laying on the roadside, we asked Mom, please take us home. Sadly, she told us that we could never go back home. all of us start to cry. Two weeks later, we arrived in one of the villages in southern part of Cambodia. When asked by the district chief, my mother was honest about working for the government, not knowing they were executing with anyone with this type of background. We were so fortunate that one of them was so kind and come to tell my mom, you need to leave as soon as possible. Our life was saved because of this. The next morning, around 4 a.m., we got up and left the village. When we get there, my mom started saying she was a bookseller. She could no longer be honest during that time. 1 year later, they moved us to Battambang province, which is in northern part of Cambodia. We were put in the middle of the swamp and had to build our own huts from whatever we can find. We were sent to harvest the rice and working, and they put us also in the rice paddy from sunset to sunrise with a small ration of food twice a day. So many people, and mostly men, die from overwork, starvation, and disease. This is why they kept bringing people to Battambang to replace the workers as they die. 6 months later, I was so sick with high fever and waiting to die. I couldn't walk and had to lay in bed for 3 to 4 months. There was no medicine. I was just a sack of skeleton with a bald head. My sister was afraid to sleep next to me. My mom slept with me to keep me warm. And she whispered to me, never give up. Everyone said I was not going to survive and don't waste food and time on me. But my mother and 2 sisters already had the attitude of never give up and applied that for me. With their sacrifice, my determination to never give up on my life, and I recover. Khmer Rouge didn't allow us to only cooking utensil. Everyone need to go to cafeteria to eat according to their schedule. If you miss the time, you didn't eat. Everyone had to find something to supplement their food, such as fish, rat, snail, snake, and whatever could be eaten. We were praying for someone from the outside world to come rescue us from this hell. We were so happy when we heard the sounds of guns. I know most of us, when we heard the sound of the gun, we're trying to hide, we're scared, but not for us during that time. We found out later there was Vietnamese troops fighting with Khmer Rouge. My mom told us that she was going to take us to the border and escape to Thailand. We asked her, how will we get there, Mom? We had no transportation and had very little food left. Again, she said to us, never give up. It took us 1.5 weeks walking to one of the refugee camps on Cambodia and Thai's border. In the camp, we start our business by selling 2 buckets, by selling water, 2 buckets for 50 cents. You know how they're taking for some time to save some money. Will we be able to save enough money? Now we're starting to buy candies, fruit, tobacco for resale. One day, a battle broke out between Khmer Rouge and the freedom fighter. We lost everything. Now we lost everything we had and were briefly separated from my sister. I was with my mother, and my sister were by themselves. My mother was always strong and told me, never give up. We found them the next day in another refugee camp. We decided to go to another camp, Cambodian, inside Thailand. We were lucky to have UN truck transport us to the new camp. Lucky we don't have to walk this time. After a couple months living in the refugee camp, we found out that my uncle James Tran was living in the United States, and my dad, Len Diep, was living in Paris. Immediately, my mother wrote to them that we were still alive and staying in Cambodian, refugee camp in Thailand. Our life started to get better. My dad and uncle sent us some money. Early 1981, we received sponsorship document from my dad and my uncle. But we decided to come to the United States because we found out that my dad remarried in Paris. It was not his fault because he thought that we were dead in Khmer Rouge, during the Khmer Rouge. On August 1981, my family and I arrived at John Wayne Airport in Orange County with only $10 in our pocket. We were worried that Uncle James might forget to pick us up. And we knew very little English and wouldn't know where to buy food with $10. Thankfully, he was there. Uncle James rented a house on Lee Avenue in Long Beach, and we moved in with his family. We were so happy to finally reunite with him and his family. As a 14-year-old, I assigned to 8th grade, which was challenging since I knew very little English. I only had a few years of school before the Khmer Rouge came to power and had not attended school since. Continually reminding myself to never give up. I struggled, learned English. I graduated from high school and went on to college. I was accepted to Cal State Long Beach, got involved with the Cambodian Student Society, which where I met my husband, Sithea San, also a killing field survivor. We both decided to transfer to Cal State Dominguez Hills, where we graduated and then were married in 1991. After working a few years, we both felt a desire to return to Cambodia to help with its reconstruction. Again, never give up on our homeland. In 1997, we spent 2 years working with the Cambodian National Airlines and experienced more fighting, and many people left. So this is another fighting that I am also experiencing. We apply our never give up attitude, protect employees and company assets, and rescue many tourists trapped because of the fighting. In 2001, my husband and I returned back to Long Beach and eventually found Cambodia Town, Inc., an organization to help to promote the Cambodian culture and designate an area as Cambodia Town district. This seemed natural to Long Beach, since Long Beach has the largest Cambodian community outside of Southeast Asia. Many warned this would never succeed, but I still believe never give up and move ahead. Because of our never give up attitude, we overcame many obstacles and objections. It took 11 years, but during that time, the Cambodia Town Inc. obtained the official designation of Cambodia Town along Anaheim Street here in Long Beach. Installed 16 street signs designated the area. Installed 2 freeway signs along the 710 freeway that say Cambodia Town next exit. Held arts and culture festival, workshop, and parade to display our Cambodian culture and rich heritage. My never give up attitude. The experience of going through this event have made me a stronger person. I greatly appreciate the opportunity this country has offered to me. And thank you for listening to my story.